Hello everyone and welcome back to Boba and Books. It is I, Valerie. So today you might notice that we have an absence of somebody and we are not in Zoom. And that is because Beth is currently on a trip somewhere and will not be available for the rest of the month. So you're stuck with me. Anyways, I hope you do not mind. If you do, I am offended. Anyways, let us get right into the video. So today I have jasmine tea, and it is in a fancy teacup so I can feel fancy. And yeah. And we will be reviewing, well, I will be reviewing A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Anyways, where do we even start with this book? I thought this was a YA because it was recommended to me by a person and they said it was YA and it was not YA, it was in fact new adult. So I did skip over some of the more explicit scenes in this. So I'm sorry if I don't know how to go into detail about that stuff. I don't think I'd be a very good judge for it. Anyways, pretty much, if you don't know, have you been living under a rock? Anyways, if you do not know, this story is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which follows our main character, Farah, who's not like other girls. She has a traumatic backstory and an abusive family who treats her horrible, and she's a hunter, and she's cold as stone and classic. Anyways, pretty much her family treats her horribly, and then she hunts because her mother died and they were like used to be rich and now they're like poor, and so she's like, time to hunt because we're poor and stuff. And then everyone else is just like useless. Like, she has her sister Elaine, which is nice, but like just nice. And we have Nesta, who's literally like the most vengeful character, and I don't even know why. And then we have her father, he's just there. I mean, he's not even there half the time, but he's like, he's there. And so pretty much there are like these fairies in the world who are like all powerful beings, and she's like, blech, fairies. And then so she's all like, okay, time to kill them. So she sees one in the woods that's disguised as a wolf, even though she knows it might be a fairy because of how big it is. Anyways, she's just like, okay, time to kill it, so she does. And then our love interest Tamlin comes along, and he's like a high lord or whatever, and he's like, you killed my friend, it's time to take you. And so that's like the beast part of the Beauty and the Beast part of this. And yeah, so she finds her way through this magical world of fairies. I don't know what to say about that. Anyways, I might as well get started with what I did not like. A lot of scenes were questionable, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Sarah J. Maas's writing style. I've never read Sarah J. Maas before, so this is my first encounter with her writing style, and it was a bit slow for me, and it was overly decorated, to me at least. And she would just like, Farah, our main character, would just go on and on and on and on about like little tiny details, or like she'd talk to or like she'd look at something and then think way too deeply about it. She'd be like, there's a mountain. I wonder who climbed that mountain once so long ago. I wonder why they climbed it. Was it to find a lost loved one? And then they tragically fell from one of the cliffs on that mountain, and then they died. Instead of just being like, it's a nice mountain. Or like, it's an ugly mountain. Or like, it's a weird mountain. But no, she's like really deep and sentimental about these things that really don't need to be deep and sentimental and thought about, because it just really does nothing for the plot. And then also, she's so overly, like, I would say, like, cold-hearted to a lot of, like, people here. Like, I get it if it's, like, someone, like, you genuinely don't like and whatever. And, like, I get, like, that she doesn't like Tamlin at first. And I like that, like, I guess dynamic of, enemies to lovers sort of thing going on. I do like that. But I don't know. It was just so weird. Like, she was just, like, so mean to everyone, I guess. And even before she didn't, like, before she got to know them. And, like, she was taken away from her family, yes, but she was already assured that her family was fine and everything. And I don't expect her to be, like, to let go of that immediately. But even in the beginning, when we got to know her and her family's relationship, it didn't seem like she cared a whole lot, or they cared a whole lot about her. She definitely cared about making them live, but I don't think she cared about anything more. Like, there's this one part where she said she'd much rather have them just marry off so that she can just be alone and not have to deal with them anymore. And now she really is, like, she knows they're safe, she knows they're alive, she knows they're being treated better than before she was there, and she's being treated way better than she was at her old house. But she's still like, I hate Tamlin for taking me to this beautiful mansion. And yeah, I don't know, it's just, I don't know. Yeah. Also, spoilers for the rest of this, so if you haven't read this book, feel free to skip out. But okay, so the part where she leaves, like, Tamlin sends her off back to her cottage because of, like, the threat or whatever, and the plague, or, like, the whatever, the blight. They're, like, the whole story, the whole other half of the story just relies on her not saying I love you. And that is just, it just seems so stupid to me. Like, why does she have to, like, explicitly say I love you? And okay, I get it. If she says explicitly says I love you. But, like, everything else would have just worked if she just said I love you, like, 2 days faster. It's just so stupid to me. Or, like, a few days faster or whatever, and it's so stupid to me. And then suddenly she can't say it. Like, she cannot say it 2 days ago. But then 2 days after, she's suddenly like, I will sell my soul for this person. And I'm like, girl, but where were you when we needed you? And I get he sent her off and everything. But she said so many times that, like, she would have said I love you. She would have said I love you. And I'm just like, why didn't you just say it when he said I love you and then sent you off? She was like, I wanted to say it back or blah blah. Just say it then. I don't know. I guess for plot reasons, related reasons, I just think it's really stupid. Also, personally, I didn't think how Tamlin sent her off 2 days early was too stupid of a decision, because I think he really cared about her, and so sending her off and ensuring her safety, even if she might have had 2 days more, is just, I think it's a thing you've got to do. And so I thought that was pretty selfless of him. Even though they pretty much hate on him in book 2 and book 3 just endlessly. Also, how she's just like, I found the transition from I can't even say I love you to you to, like, I will sell my literal soul to you, really artificial. I found that super artificial. Also, like, in book 2, because I already know she gets with, like, a Rhysand person or whatever, like, just transitioning from that I will literally sell my soul for you, because, like, I'm pretty sure she says that I will like give all I am to save him or whatever, which is supposed to be romantic, but it's just so abrupt. And, like, it was only like, what, a few months at most that she spent in there. I don't know how long it was, but it was just so unnatural to me, and I just didn't like that transition. And Rhysand, oh, Rhysand, I hated him. I hated him so much. Okay, don't get me wrong. As a villain, I loved him as a villain. He was charming. He was evil. He was wicked. But yet, he had this, like, sinister joy. And yet, he was, like, a little bit morally gray, which I really liked. And I loved him so much as a villain. I thought he was 10 times a better villain than Amaranthia was. Amarantha, I think that's how you say her name. Amarantha was a cardboard cutout, but how she made Farah kill Tamlin, I love that part. That's where I really loved her, because in so many books I always think, wow, this would have been great if like the last person wasn't just some sort of friend. It was actually their love interest that they were fighting for the whole time. Like in so many books I think that, but it never is. But then in here it was, and that was just so refreshing to see, and I really like that. But like I hated Rhysand. He was just horrible. I mean, he did so many horrible things to her. He tortured her, and he made her do things like she didn't want to do. And everyone else can say like, yeah, but he was just doing that to make like Tamlin extra mad. Tamlin was already mad enough, okay? She like literally made him just like abandon his whole estate and ruined it, and then like tortured his best friend Lucien, and then did all these horrible things, and then took his lover and just like made him do all these horrible tasks in front of him. Like, he's gonna be mad enough. Like, he's going to be mad already, and also because of what Amaranthia does to like the rest of the courts. Forgot the name. The courts. Like, he's going to be mad already. He's not going to be like chill about it. He's not going to be like, it's okay, man. Like, no, he's going to be mad. So I just thought that was such a dumb reason. And also, like, giving her the paints, like, smudges to make sure nobody else touched her. Okay, I can get behind that part, I guess. But, like, making her wear really revealing clothes that she doesn't want to wear. Why? And, like, humiliating her. Like, I get humiliating her, the part. But, like, did you really have to do it in the way you did? Like, wouldn't it be more, like, funny, I guess? If, like, I don't know, you guys just, like, did something else? I don't know, like, make her do other things that are stupid. Like, you literally had her under your control. Do something more stupid and funny to other fairies than literally forcing her into doing this dance. And it's such a stupid thing. And how he's like, I'll only touch your waist and whatever. I'm glad he didn't touch more of her, but like, what kind of excuse is that? I don't know. I really loved him as a villain. I think the most he could ever be is a good but misunderstood like friend, I guess. But to make him a love interest, and not only that, a feminist apparently, I can't. We need more tea sipping for this. Yeah, it was just horrible. Anyways, also, I found the ending, one of my biggest problems with this is that the ending was way too put together for the whole thing. I just found the ending to be just like, I get it's a fairy tale and they have to have their happily ever after, but I wish it was done better, because it felt like too clean. Nobody really major to the plot died, especially after all they've gone through with what Amaranthia put them through, like such horrible things. Nobody really important died. Nobody really important, I think, even got lasting injuries. And it was just like, and I hated how like we talked about how bad Amaranthia is within like this big of a chunk, like half of the book or something. Like, it's really thick. And then the last like 2 pages, she's defeated. Like, just in the last 2 pages. And I don't know, I just found that so superficial. And how they make, like, I don't know, it was just, I don't know. And also how this could be really a standalone. I would think like this is an okay standalone. And so my biggest problem with this is the fact that it could be an okay standalone, and I would be fine with that. I'd be like, okay, this is a great, not a great, but like a good standalone, and I'd read it and I'd be like, cool, and then move on with my life. But the fact that it's like a trilogy and now being turned into like what, a 7-book series, I think. What? Where's the extra like strings? Like always there needs to be at least a few extra strings or extra plot holes or whatever that you fill over like the next time, like in the next book, and that's the whole thing. And like it's supposed to leave me with at least some questions, but it only left me with one question at the end, and it felt really rushed at the end, the last question that was added in, which is like, why was Rhysand staring at her, blah 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 blah, you know? And so I don't know, it was just, I don't know. One good thing I will say though is, I don't know if just because this is the first new adult book I've ever read, but the pain, how Sarah J. Maas portrayed pain was so vivid and intense to me compared to a lot of YAs I read. And it just felt like, even though I knew this was a series and I knew Farah would survive, I just felt so like deeply like scared, I guess, or just like traumatized by it. So I'll give her pointers for that. And also I love the character Lucien. I just loved him. He's humorous, he's funny. The only time that I don't like him is when he runs away like a coward. When the first time he sees blood, and I get it's because of like his past trauma or whatever, but it's like, Lucien, everyone has trauma, okay? Like everyone in this book has trauma, and you don't see them running away. Like I have trauma after reading this book, and you don't see me running away, okay? So like, but anyways, yeah. Now I think it is time for me to read. Oh, also one more thing. The riddle. So dumb. So dumb. I mean, I already knew the answer to the riddle because I had like spoilers to this, but it was just so dumb. Oh my god. Also, if Amaranthia is smart enough to like make sure that it isn't like instantaneous or whatever if she solves the rest of the trials, then why can't she just be like, not said the instantaneous thing for like the riddle too, and then be like at the end when she solves the riddle, if she solves the riddle as like a backup plan, just be like, well, I didn't say when, so ha. You know, I felt like it was really a bad thing. Like it was just messy. But I also liked how Sarah J. Maas had Tamlin's heart be stone. I thought that was sort of clever. A bit dumb, but like also sort of clever, if that makes sense. Anyways, I think I'm going to share some parts in this so I can massacre our ears some more. With just some of the weirdest parts that I marked. I don't usually mark stuff in books, but there was too much in here not to mark, so. All right, so we have here, he left me, and I took a gasping breath, not realizing I had been holding it. Do I even need to talk about that part? Okay. We have this part, which I just absolutely hate this. She first meets Rhysand, and she's like, standing before me was the most beautiful man I'd ever seen. If he's really that beautiful, why can you not describe anything other than that about his appearance? And like in the next page she does, but like I feel like that is so overused and redundant. It's like, was he really the most beautiful man you've ever seen? And like I couldn't really like Rhys or find myself liking, like be attracted to, I guess, Rhysand or Tamlin, just because she made them seem so flawless, and I find appearances are a lot more interesting and more like human, I guess, to me, when it's like they have those little things about them, you know? like maybe just a little part about them that's like a little off, like a scar on their face, or maybe their hair twists up or curls up in a weird way, like anything about that those little things. But like they're just everyone in here is supposed to just be drop dead gorgeous, so all I can imagine is just a bunch of like models, and then there's just like Farah. You know, because she talks about like how she's like pretty but not really pretty, and then even when she says she's pretty at the end, she's like, but I'm not that pretty. So I just imagine all these models, and then there's just like Farah. So I don't know. It was just, I don't know. Okay. Okay, so this is, I forgot whatever it's called, like how you, Calamai. I'm just gonna call it Fire Night. Anyways, Fire Night, I just felt the whole premises of that to be so messed up and so weird and unnecessary. Like, why do you need to add that in there? I just don't find it to be a necessary fairy holiday. Like, I mean, I'm fine with it being like a fairy holiday in this book, but why did we have to spend like, what, 20 pages going over it? I mean, if all we wanted for that 20 pages was just for Sarah J. Maas to add that, like, scene where, like, Farrah's, like, where, like, Tamlin bites her neck, or whatever. Like, if that's it, if that's the whole reason I read that 20 pages, then it was really not worth it. Yeah, but anyways, and then we have... Yeah, so here I marked the part where Tamlin was like biting her or whatever. And the funniest thing I thought about this part was the fact that she dropped her cookie, and like she felt it so necessary to like get a cookie. I don't know, I just felt it was so weird, like Sarah J. Maas felt it so necessary to describe like the cookie she was holding during this time. I don't know, I always found it funny. I liked it. I liked that part. I found it humorous. I don't know if it was meant to be humorous. I found it humorous. Okay. Okay, so this is one of my favorite parts in this, actually, where Lucien is all like, what's that supposed to mean? I demanded. If I offer you the moon on a string, will you give me a kiss too? So that's what Lucien says, and I just found it so funny because he knew, and I don't know, I just loved him at that part. Also, another funny part here is pretty much where she just gets drunk, so I marked that. I don't know, I just find drunk scenes really funny in any book. I don't know if I should find them funny, I just do, they're always funny. Yeah, also here where she giggles at Lucien because she's drunk. I don't know. And I love it because like it's like it's in past tense, right? So to me when I'm reading this, it sounds more like Farrah's telling the story, but like she's reminiscing on it, if that makes sense. So it's really funny where she's like, I'm going to paint you, I said, and giggled. Actually giggled. As the words popped out, and I just found that funny. Okay. Also, this is the part where I was like, seriously? So this is like probably one of the most messed up parts to me in this. The fact that like Tamlin legit just like took her for no reason and then like trapped her under, so like that was messed up. Like he like put her in his home and whatever, and we're assuming it's all because of this like treaty. And then we find out there was no reason. The treaty never said this. She could kill as many fairies as she wanted, and I found that so dumb. Like, why did you even have to like say that? I get to make like an excuse or whatever, but like Farrah was weak. She was helpless against a fairy. Like you could have just took her for killing your friend and then not put her under this fake spell and think that blah 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 for treaty. So I think it was really unnecessary for them to add on this whole entire thing and just whatever. It was just. Okay, so this is the riddle for the love. So this one, the ending made me cringe so bad. So is this. There are those who seek me a lifetime, but never we meet, and those I kiss, but who trample me beneath ungrateful feet. At times I seem to favor the clever and fair, but I bless all those who are brave enough to dare. By and large, my ministrations are soft-handed and sweet, but scorned I become a difficult beast to defeat. For though each of my strikes lands a powerful blow, when I kill, I do it slow. I don't know, the last line just really broke the whole thing for me. When you kill, you do it slow. Ah ha 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 ha, blah blah blah. I'm so evil, ha ha ha. Also the part where she's like, by large my ministrations are soft-handed and sweet. Amaranthia herself knew that, like, the fact that a human killed her sister and blah 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 was a one-time, like, it doesn't usually happen in relationships. She acknowledges it here. And so I don't know why she's punishing love as a whole. And like, cause she seems so against like love as a whole. And I don't know, it was just, I mean, other than the fact that she pretty much like wants Tamlin to be her lover, but like she doesn't really, like, yeah, it's just. Also, here, the part where, Rhysand makes a deal with her. He literally twists her arm and tortures her, and then marks her, and I just found it so unnecessary, and I mean, if you're going to mark her, like, why make it always? Like, just make it before the whole performance so she doesn't have to deal with it, like, after or whatever. Because she always stares at it guiltily. And it's, like, it's just so unnecessary. And I don't know. Okay. But I don't think, like, I love this part so much, where Amaranthia gives her one last chance to answer the riddle. And it's a pun! And I love that so much! Okay. Amaranthia propped her chin on a hand. You never figured out my riddle, did you? I didn't respond, and she smiled. Pity. The answer is so lovely. Because it's love. Oh my god. I love that part. I'm like, ah ha ha, I see what you did there. And I don't know. It was just, I loved it so much. Anyways, I think that is going to wrap it up for this video. Lastly, I will just give it a rating, 1 to 10. I think I'll give it a 6.5. It was a solid enough read. I don't know if I'd read it again, and it definitely wasn't my favorite, but I sort of liked it. I mean, like, you can tell a lot by a person from what they read, and I don't know what A Court of Thorns and Roses tells about me. I don't know if I want to know what A Court of Thorns and Roses tells about me, but I kind of liked it. So, I mean, it was very different from the normal thing. I think I'll like book 2 and 3 a lot less, just because Rhysand turns into the main love interest, and I don't know how the plot is going to continue from this one, because it pretty much just can end off here. I don't know how it's going to continue from here, and I hate the fact that Tamlin becomes like this weird abuser because he's overprotective or whatever, and Farah can't have a decent conversation with him and just be like, hey, you're being overprotective. But anyways, that is a different discussion for a different day. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.